Shabbat Shalom, Parashat Balak. We are introduced to the venomous character, Bilam, a master of the ways of the Lord, a master of prophecy, a master of witchcraft, a master of evil. Chazal go out of their way to depict Bilam to us, this Gentile prophet that is recruited by the king of Moab, Balak, to curse the Jewish people, as one of the most powerful beings ever to live. In fact, they try to create a contrast between Bilam and Moshe. And they argue that Bilam even had a mastery and understanding of certain aspects of the way God rules this world on a higher degree than Moshe Rabbeinu himself did. Aristotle called Bilam the ultimate wise man with no deeds. What sad, pathetic outcome could come of a man that possessed so much wisdom and so much power, but used it only to create nothing more than evil. Nonetheless, our parsha depicts the way Bilam came with the full intent to curse the Jewish people, and God forces him to speak the words of a beautiful blessing. The blessing that he bestowed upon the Jewish people in this week's parasha are so powerful and so potent, in which Chazal originally considered mandating the recitation of this parasha every single time we say Kriyat Shema. So powerful are these blessings that they thought that perhaps we should recite them together with Shema. They decided that it might be too much of a burden, and therefore it was abandoned. But nonetheless, a key sentence, which speaks volumes of what Bilam saw in the Jewish people, has been adopted as the first line that we utter in our prayers every single morning. Every child starts his day by singing, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How glorious are your tents, O Israel, your dwellings, Israel. What a beautiful sentence. This is how we start our day. We glorify the way that we as a people live our lives. Chazal tell us what it was that Bilam saw that led him to have such a divine inspiration. Because despite his efforts, despite his total desire to curse the people, the first, the second, and the third time, he was unable to do so. And when he asks Balak to take him to a bird's eye view, so he can perhaps scan the camp of Israel, looking for an Achilles heel, looking for something that will allow him to hinge upon, to curse the people, all he saw was a people of such great morality and such great degree of inner respect and peace. So Chazal described to us what it is that he saw. He saw the tents of Israel aligned, one next to each other. A massive multitude of people living in a desert, being required to pitch tents and take them apart and travel with them from place to place. And yet he was not able to find a single tent that had its opening facing the opening of another tent. Each and every member of the Jewish people was sure to erect his tent in such a particular way that gave dignity and privacy to the family that was living next to him. What tremendous moral, ethical standards are required in order for people in a desert-like condition to build their homes in such a way. This is symbolic to the way the Jewish people have been living their lives. Throughout all the years of the desert, we've learned to band together as a people, to march under flags, for each person to understand their responsibility towards their family and their responsibility towards their community. This is what overwhelms Bilam to such a degree in which he wishes to end his life with a little glimpse of this holiness. this is how we want to open our daily prayers. Perhaps a really wonderful way to understand the mastery of sensitivity that we have to one another is expressed by a cute Hasidic vort from my great-great-grandfather, the Aptarav, known as the Ohev Yisrael, the lover of Israel, for his master interpretation, commentary on Chumash. Rabbi Avraham Yeshua Heschel Me'apt said to his students in one conversation that he believes that there isn't a single parsha in the entire Torah that doesn't contain within it the commandment of Ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha. Love thy neighbor as yourself. It happened to have been the eve of Parashat Balak when this statement was made. And one of the students immediately jumped up and said, Rebbe, where in our parsha do you see the words, Ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha? Smiles Rabbi Avraham Yeshua Heschel, smiles the Ohev Yisrael at the student and says, but listen to what you just said. You just said that the parsha is Parshat Balak. Balak is an acronym. The word Balak is an acronym for Ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha. Students look at him. Strange. Did our Rebbe just say that? Does our Rebbe not know basic Hebrew? What kind of a strange statement is that? Ve'ahavta is spelled with a vav. Yeah, the lamed is good, but kamocha spelled with a kaf. Balak is a bet, lamed kuf. Well, yeah, they sound the same. They're not spelled the same. Smiles the Rebbe at his students with tears streaming down his face and says, oh, my students, this is why you have not yet mastered the art of ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha. You see, my students, if your love to another Jew is dependent on them being exactly the way you think they should be, that they have to fit your mold, you will never truly be able to love a Jew unconditionally. Does it really matter if it's a bet or a vav, a kuf or a kaf? Nobody's perfect. Many Jews are off track. You still have to love them. Your job is to love them no matter how they appear, no matter how off they seem. You love them by virtue of them being a Jew. Then you will master the art of Ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha. Yes, indeed, we have a lot of work to do. Our people has a lot to learn about learning to respect other people's way of life, to truly love one another unconditionally with our entire hearts. Yes, our nation has long ago lost the art of Matovu Ohalecha Yaakov. But yet, if we learn to love each other a little bit more, perhaps we will regain that moral focus that will give us back the respect and dignity that we need to have for one another. And then indeed, all the blessings that Bilam has bestowed upon us will come to full fruition. Shabbat Shalom.